Welcome. We're going to talk today about something that this is not actually happened. Has this happened before us before? We watched a documentary about somebody that we have actually spent time with in real life.
I don't think we did. Janae Croc's. Did we do a review on that?
Yeah, we did actually. That's
Janae Croc, I would say. American Gladiators walks the line just because of Jen and Michael Hearn. Obviously, they weren't featured in this American Gladiators. I'm trying to think of the other ones. Probably not.
Yeah, so Croc's got to be the
Yeah. I was even trying to
first.
think of the other sports we've done. Because there's a new quarterback one that we should probably cover. I heard was good. But I haven't heard of...
We want to follow up the tennis one, but I haven't seen the second part of it come out yet.
Yeah, is it just a new season?
No, it's the second half of the first season, I think.
Because I didn't even finish that.
I think they paused it.
Yeah, I did like 3 of those. And then, we could catch up on that, but I don't know any fucking tennis players.
And then I think the golf one was supposed to have a second season, or second half, too, but God knows what the fuck they're going to do there.
Yeah, hopefully they just cover the news.
Yeah.
I mean, it was such a big deal in the first season of it. That was like half of the drama.
Right.
So I assume they just cover it again. I watched a little golf this weekend. There's the, what's it called? The celebrity tournament.
Oh, the one that Steph Curry won.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're Steph Curry, how much longer do you play basketball? And then you just like transition to the golf tour.
I think they said he was the first active athlete to win the celebrity tournament.
That's a possibility, yeah.
Yeah, and then only second basketball player, which was another Sacramento cat, Vinny Del Negro, won it in like the 90s or early 2000s.
I heard that Steph Curry is a really good golfer.
Yeah,
he's good, like a scratch golfer, and could probably make that transition should he so choose. Not that he's going to need the money, but you know.
Yeah, no, I mean just competitive he might. But you can golf, you can be a golf pro till you're 50, 55, 60.
Yeah,
so he might as well. He's still playing really good basketball. He made a quote in the interview, which was cool, about Kings fans at the Tahoe event.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's like a snippet of him saying he wouldn't mind being part of the beam before he retires, which is cool.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have guessed that was going to be the case.
Yeah, I mean, he lives in Oakland,
Yeah.
Same shit. He's been there forever. Yeah, who knows? Maybe he likes Sacramento. Maybe he likes the fans. Maybe he just likes Tahoe golf, and we're an hour closer.
Yeah, true enough.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you could definitely turn pro. A lot of golfers, that's like the argument, and I don't know like the data, but I'm sure we could look it up. When I got in a discussion the other day with Kyle and a bunch of the guys about like what athletes or what sports athletes would be the best put into any other sport.
Uh-huh.
And I always sound biased because I'm a basketball player, but it's just true. Like every basketball player I know, not everyone, but a lot of basketball players I know are like sick at golf. And everyone says like golf's the hardest sport. And golf is really fucking hard, of course. But like I know tons. My buddy who played at St. Mary's and now plays pro in Australia, shout out to Clint. Clint can golf like a motherfucker. He's 6'7", shooting guard on the Aussie national team. Golf's like a bitch, Jordan, even though everyone talks all this shit, like Jordan will out-golf anyone listening here. Is he a pro? No, but there's just so many guys. And obviously there's just good athletes because in that celebrity tournament and in general, all these ex-quarterbacks and shit will go and turn into golfers because they have no time or they have all the time in the world, and so they can just practice. But football, there's so many positions that you can't even fucking catch a ball. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Everyone tries. Basketball is like the only sport where you do every single thing.
Yeah, that's true. More of an all-around athlete. So you have a better shot at having been good at other sports.
Everyone's got to put a ball through a small hole.
Yeah.
And that's what you got to do in golf. Not that it obviously translates because you got a stick, and I understand all that. But the hand-eye coordination representative of a quarterback might fit into golf. But the hand-eye coordination of an offensive lineman has nothing to do with golf.
So if you're a kid, like you can play soccer almost all year round.
Yeah.
You can play baseball a good amount of the year because they're
depending where you live.
Depending on where you live, because some of them have different organizations. You can play rec league stuff. You can play other organizations, little league and beyond. Football, kinda.
Yeah, I don't think they do it just because your body can't take it.
But what about basketball?
Yeah, year round easy. But I'd say basketball is the most year round.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even in the NBA. Yeah, basketball is the most year round because you're indoors. You're indoors, and then like your body doesn't take the hit of football.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say it's probably the most most covered, and that's like some issues people think with injuries and shit and coming up. But yeah, those guys, AAU goes year round. So some dudes are playing like 2 teams during their high school season sometimes.
Jeez.
Yeah, and then the summer league in the NBA is getting huge, so that's going crazy.
Yeah.
It's always been a thing, but now it's like cool for some reason.
It is cool for some reason. Just over the last couple of years, it's been
Maybe the G League, you know. The truth is probably the NBA's marketing. It's hard to like give it to anything else. Obviously, talent level's high, but NBA marketing to make the G League big, is all tied into the summer league because that's all like rookies and G League players. So maybe they're just succeeding at their 5-year marketing plan. And then was it the Ignite or something? They started like a whole new league. They started like a college league.
Yeah.
So I think maybe they're just geniuses, I guess.
Maybe so.
Yeah, because everyone's there. Bart just texted me yesterday. He was in the gym. I don't know what gym he was. He might have been at Stan's gym. And he's like chatting with the Rockets coaching staff.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's just like, yeah, dude, the Rockets are still in town. I'm talking to him. I was like, oh, shit.
He's still in town.
Yeah. I think it's playoffs for Summer League.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So I think there's like 4 teams left or something. Yeah, I don't know. But golf, I mean, shit. There's obviously injuries, but it's kind of a sweet deal. I even think tennis. Not that it's easy. I'm not saying anything that's easy, but like I feel like it's just way less chance of injury than football, basketball, soccer. Ain't nobody gonna hit you out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's a fair point. But if you think about it, professional unscripted sports can be dangerous, but like professional scripted sports like wrestling seems like the level of danger is really tacked up.
Yeah, I've never been in one of those wrestling rings, but they look like they're a little forgiving. But I also didn't know, the biggest thing that I found from this documentary is that I didn't know, I think maybe I just got lucky. Because people say the golden era of basketball is obviously around Jordan 2, which is my generation as a kid. But then same with wrestling. I only watched
the Attitude Era.
And I didn't know that. I didn't purposely choose that.
Right.
It was just like perfectly in my age gap from like 10 to 15 that The Rock and Stone Cold were doing it. And then, when I was younger in 10, I just wasn't allowed to watch it. And then when I got to like 13, 14, 15, I just knew it was fake. I wasn't as interested. And Stone Cold and The Rock started to leave. You know what I mean? So like I hit this perfect gap of wrestling coolness. And my dad like kind of knew about it because he would like joke about Jake the Snake. Like I didn't know the timelines of the business, I guess. Mm-hmm. And this documentary talked about the ECW being kind of the king. And I knew, was it WCW? Was that Hulk Hogan mostly?
I believe that's correct.
Yeah, and so that was pretty popular. And I knew Hulk Hogan was in the WWE or WWF at the time. And I knew the WWF was new and upcoming. But I didn't know, the crossover and that ECW was like the crazy shit. And then Vince McMahon took that. It does seem like Vince McMahon and them are fucking geniuses, you know?
Yeah, the documentary really delves into what McMahon kind of brought to the table in terms of making wrestling super mainstream. Not just a little mainstream, but super in the zeitgeist.
And some of it you call like dumb luck or like stars aligning. Because, you do need the talent to show up. Mm-hmm. And he got The Rock and Stone Cold. And then maybe it was just that era in TV too, right? Because you got like fucking Spike TVs becoming a thing then. The Man Show. Like that era is just like gritty. Mm-hmm. The NFL's hitting the hardest hits. Like the NFL was huge in the 90s because people were blowing each other's helmets off. Mm-hmm. Even basketball is more physical during that era. You got Shaq shitting on people. Like that era was just kind of like crazy, I feel like, when I think of it. And I was a kid, but when I think of it, I think of, like fucking monster trucks. I think of Spike TV type shit. Yeah. From like 90 to like 2000.
The Rock was even on Star Trek.
Oh, really? During that time?
Yeah, he was on an episode of Voyager.
Yeah, so weird.
He fought 7 of 9 in an arena.
He was good in that interview. I'm not a huge Rock fan, but he's good in that interview. I love The Rock as a wrestler. I mean, even to this day, I'll go back and watch Rock, Stone Cold, shit talk videos.
Oh, really?
Like the wrestling itself, I think I liked when I was a kid because I like the backflips and people beating each other up. But even as a kid, but even now, I like the shit talk better. Like the mic work is just so funny, and Stone Cold and The Rock are the best at it for sure. They're so funny.
They're the Muhammad Ali's of
100%. they're the best reference for that because they actually are funny. And as the documentary talks about, like a lot of Stone Cold stuff was just off the top of his hat.
Yeah.
You know, he's just making shit up, and he's like, yeah, I think I'm just striking gold. And when you hang out with him, he kind of has some like Theo Vaughnism in him, where I think just because he's from the South, he'll just say shit that's kind of funny, you know, but it's probably just shit his dad said.
Probably, maybe.
You know, it's just like Southern shit, you know? I forgot what he says, like, because we obviously had the pleasure of having him on our podcast, and then I like sat in on one of his podcasts and went to his house. He said, and it's probably like a wrestling line, but it comes from whatever he said. You can take the door, you can take the window, I don't care, but you got to get the hell up out of here, or something like that. You know, you're like, oh fuck, you know, it's just like funny shit like that. Just, but it rolls so smoothly out of him. Yeah, you just can't help but like laugh. And I'm like, fuck, dude, it is a talent.
The last time that I saw him, it's been a little over 5 years. Did a show with him, and he just gave me shit the entire time.
Yeah, he's funny, man.
Like, of all the targets in the room, he gave me shit the entire time.
Yeah,
and not in a malicious way at all. He just was being funny.
Yeah, I don't think you could ever take him. That's what's funny about it. It's like he is so intimidating. He's a big fuck. Because you think about wrestlers like, oh, it's fake. Like, no, bro, he's like 6'3", even still 220, 230. Like, he's a big fuck. Back in the day, who knows what he was. And then he's talking aggressively too. Like, he's not always smiling. Like, even his jokes are kind of like in character.
Yeah,
they're
a little like flat.
Yeah, they're like brash. He's brash, but he is joking, and you can like feel it somehow, but you can't like see it. If you're just to read body language, you don't.
Yeah.
And that's what they even said in the video in the beginning of the documentary. Is kind of poetic, where he's just like Stone Cold Steve Austin, or he said like Steve Austin's a man outside of the ring, and Stone Cold's the same man just in the ring, depending on my environment or something like that.
Yeah, I remember him telling us. I don't know. It was the first show, which like okay, so our first podcast, he was one of the first like 20 guests or something like that on the phone. I can't remember if it was in that one or the later one where he talked about the fact that, or maybe it was offline, that WWE, at least at the time, owned Stone Cold.
No, I think every time you sign with the WWE, they own all that. I think The Rock had to buy his shit back.
Yeah, possibly.
I think he had to buy The Rock back. But that's why he started his celebrity career as Dwayne Johnson. I believe. Yeah. Because I think that's just part of the contract. Like, hey, we're going to build you up, but that character is owned by us. So same idea, right? All the Stone Cold T-shirts, he probably got 10%. He's not getting the whole cash.
No, actually, he got a lot more than that.
The whole time?
Yeah. That's actually a story that he told on the first time that we that it wasn't in this documentary, and I kind of expected it to be, but maybe they don't want people to know.
They talked about the numbers. They said he made like $1.25 million.
Yeah. The deal was he was like, I'm still not making any money here, and the thing about the merch guy saying, you know, can we do a T-shirt here?
Yeah.
But he went to WWE and said, I need to get like a significant cut of the T-shirts, more than 10%. And
I'm just saying,
and they said okay because they didn't know. You know,
and he was on his rise. But I just mean in general, the WWE acts as a large part of manager. That's all I meant.
Oh yeah, I know for sure.
That they're taking like your name isn't your name.
Another crazy thing that they didn't talk about is that I don't know what the case is today, but as of the last time I heard, they're all independent contractors. They're 1099. They're not
interesting.
They're not employees. So
they just had a merger, right? Is it UFC and WWE? There was just like a merger.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know if it was a sister company. I remember there was a big merger happening. I think it was WWE and UFC. So that might play a role in some of that back end business shit too. And now I've never watched it, but I know some of the guys in there. You know, shout out to Braun Strowman, Adam, and other guys. Our worlds just collide a lot with WWE for some reason. I guess meatheads, like wrestling is a thing you do when you can't go to the NFL, and powerlifting is a thing you do when you can't go to the NFL. So you get like all the rejects. I don't really know why, but for some reason I know tons of people in there, and I think just all those guys are like lifters.
Yeah.
My buddy Bronson's still fighting overseas or here. There's just a ton of people back and forth.
Yeah, the merger combining UFC and WWE will operate under a new name, TKO Group Holdings, with plans to go public on the stock exchange before the end of 2023.
Yeah, who knows what that'll bring.
Endeavor owns UFC.
Yeah, because Dana sold most of it.
Yeah, and I think that McMahon is basically out of WWE.
Probably.
Now.
I don't blame him. Yeah, Triple H looks like he's running the show. All that history is good. It was such a good era because there's so many like mega stars.
Yeah,
they didn't even obviously Stone Cold and The Rock elevated things beyond. But like Triple H was famous as shit. You know?
Yeah.
There's so many people in there. Rikishi. There's a lot of people that had like big mainstream names and voices. Where now, I don't know. Maybe it's my age or who I hang out, but I can't name nobody besides my friends in there.
Yeah.
You know? And you wonder how much that is like storytelling, how much of that is just general culture not attaching to it, or how much is that is like the talent that is Stone Cold in them.
It's interesting too. I was looking through his Wikipedia entry.
Yeah.
And someone has meticulously like followed every fucking storyline.
I'm sure.
And documented it there.
Wrestling fans are crazy.
Yeah.
Wrestling fans are crazy. So like I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, I guess John Cena would be the other like superstar after them. But after that it kind of fell off too. You know, like name the
Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I don't know if he's on that level.
I don't know.
He's a big name. He's related to The Rock, but I don't think they hit the stardom like Cena and fucking Stone Cold and Rock. Those three stick in my head. Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
And yeah, is that a talent thing or is that a business thing or is that a culture thing?
It's interesting too that the people that they talk to in this documentary, you know, the sort of famous wrestlers, excuse me, they're, I mean, cultural bias. They're all very well spoken.
Yeah, especially like the ones you don't think would be, like the Undertaker, Mick Foley. Mick Foley's so good.
Yeah,
Mankind, Cactus Jack, like that was. I don't know why. As a kid, I just remember laughing. I thought he was the funniest, craziest human on the planet. They're like legitimately like decent actors, you know.
Yeah.
Like Stone Cold didn't have to act that much because it was just kind of him with a little attitude. The Rock kind of same thing. Like whether it's his letting his narcissism out or what, he was just kind of a cocky dude as a wrestler, but it played well. Some of the other guys, I guess, were a little corny. You look at like Christian and Edge. I don't know if you watched a lot during that era, but those guys were pretty popular too, and they were in a couple of movies, and their acting was a little more corny, but some of them were just so good. They were so good. Yeah, the Undertaker spoke really well. Even obviously Vince McMahon.
Yeah, all
the shit they put Vince through is funny. Like how he wanted to like write himself in, but he just got beat up.
Right.
Yeah, and his relationship with Stone Cold was something I didn't really know about. Because you always hear about that dynamic. We know, again, a lot of people in wrestling and kind of rubbed elbows with that whole world. The culture of that business just seems so weird, you know? Like the hazing kind of, but not hazing. Like they don't purposely haze you, but you got to fucking pay your dues kind of.
Yeah.
You kind of come up with your own gimmick. You're like a writer and an actor. And it's kind of like a team. You have to prove yourself, but you also just kind of like get lucky. Yeah, it just seems so complicated. I do wish I would have given it a go when I was like 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like I would never want to live that life, like the road life as an adult. Even as a kid, I probably would have hated it, but at least I would have like sucked it up and done it. Because they literally are on the road, 300 days a year.
Yeah. The place that he started out wrestling in Texas, the venue that they use in Heels looks so much like that.
Probably similar. And even the school, where he started wrestling looks like, shout out our buddy Luke Hawks. Luke drove me by his place in Louisiana once. We didn't go in, but we just drove by and it looked like that too. Just like a square cement building says wrestling on the wall.
Well, we should point out that Luke plays Stone Cold in Young Rock.
Yeah.
If Young Rock is still going, I think it is.
I don't know. I heard good reviews of it, so you assume it would move.
Yeah.
Still.
Heels is about to come back sometime in the next week or so.
Yeah, I never watched any of those. I don't know why.
Heels is good.
Yeah.
I mean, if you like wrestling and you like wrestling compatible storylines.
Yeah.
And then there's actually good acting too. So, Stephen Amell kills it. He's good.
Yeah. And that's what everyone says about even Young Rock, that it was solid. I don't know. I think, I literally haven't watched wrestling since. I stopped watching 8th grade.
Yeah.
Started watching UFC and the WEC, and then that was it.
Shout out to the Short Kings. Luke is considerably shorter than
Stone. Yeah, he's probably my height, right? 5'8", maybe.
Yeah, he's about 5'8".
Yeah. And Stone Cold is a big bitch. But I'm sure they didn't get, because I think The Rock's 6'4" too.
Yeah.
So I'm sure like whoever plays The Rock isn't 6'5".
Isn't 6'5", yeah.
I mean, chances are just low. Possible.
Possible. What a thing that I was definitely struck by was having talked to the guy, having hung out with him. I mean, what you saw in the documentary, that's pretty much how he is.
Yeah, he's good. He's raw. What I didn't know is all like the mini adversities, and obviously that's what makes like a story, or like how seemingly lost he was and felt in between gaps of work.
Yeah.
You know, he even like pointed to alcoholism in senses, but like even that like is just so charming how he says it. He says something like, "I was hitting the bottle harder than you might think," or something, you know, and you're like, "Well, so you're saying you were drunk," you know, like rather than saying like I had problems with alcohol, just how he says everything makes me giggle. Even though he's like probably trying not to be funny, but
I'm sure he was trying not to be funny. But the thing about that's interesting is like he has a beer now.
Yeah.
And
yeah, his gimmick's beer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, yeah.
So
is that a gimmick, or are you just chugging beer? Even because there was B-roll of him walking into hotels and he had cans of beer in his hand. I was like, well, this is no longer a gimmick. Like, you're in a hotel, no one's around,
right.
Paparazzi's not around. He had 2 beers in his hands. I was like, well,
yeah.
And we've heard about the life similar to the American Gladiator life that we just covered. Like the road life does sound like you're just drinking and taking whatever pills allow you to breathe and not hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'd imagine the pains in American Gladiator are probably similar to the pains in wrestling.
Yeah, it's like, well, the movie The Wrestler.
Yeah,
that's actually supposed to be pretty accurate in a lot of ways.
I'm sure, and even in like those eras, like because people are like, oh, well, there's Monday Night Raw or whatever, and then Thursday night was a SmackDown, but I think they perform like 6 days a week. Because there's a lot of shows they'll do with the big names.
Yeah, they're house shows.
Yeah, that won't end up on TV.
Yeah.
And they'll still fill in arenas or whatever, or let alone the pay-per-views.
Hurt just as bad.
Oh, yeah, or more. Yeah, I mean, all that hurts. Like, yeah, fake or not. I mean, you're getting thrown through a table. Yeah, the table's probably semi-flimsy to made to collapse, but you can't, like, it's not a balloon.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and there's a 220-pound man jumping on you. Like, that shit hurts. Like, I think it was the Vince McMahon talked about getting kicked in the dick all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
That's got to hurt. All the chairs you're getting hit with. Yeah, it is funny. Stone Cold, one of the funnier parts was he was talking about, he's like, I started getting, I was a professional at hitting people with things, so I started getting good at hitting people with things. He's like fucking testing toilet pans or bed pans on his head before he wants to smack Vince. Like, that's got to hurt.
Yeah.
To get that noise is going to hurt. It's funny. It is funny the lengths they all went through. There's some incredible storylines and scenes. Like, and I remembered some of them, like the Corvette getting filled up with cement.
Mm-hmm.
There was another one where I think he had a forklift, which was funny because in the documentary he talks about working for a forklift company and being hella good at it. But I think he's driving a forklift and tries to flip someone's truck, or maybe threw Vince McMahon or even The Rock in a dumpster and then lifts it around with a forklift. Just like the funniest shit. I don't know why. It was like hella good memories and like prominent in my head because you don't watch reruns of that stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, some people do. No offense to my wrestling nerds out there, but I do not watch reruns of that. That was the beauty of it.
Right,
is that it was live and it was weekly. It was reality TV.
Yeah,
and there wasn't a lot of reality TV going on. And actually, it's probably the most beautiful part of reality TV because it's scripted and we all kind of know it. Where every other reality TV is scripted, but we pretend like it's not.
We pretend like it's not.
Yeah, where this you kind of know, like, oh, something's gonna happen. Yeah, it's so good. His iconic walk, everything about him is just so funny. I don't know why.
I think, too, that if you have never sat very close to a ring during any kind of wrestling, but particularly WWE, you don't know how acrobatic and choreographed it feels and looks. Like, you have to have some serious skills as opposed to not just pain tolerance, but skills to pull off any of that.
No, it's literally like dancing. Because like one dude's like leading, and you know when he grabs your left wrist and your right shoulder that this move is coming, but he's not telling you, and it's not written down.
Right.
It's just like, all right, well now we're doing this, and you just kind of flow through whatever, and the trust.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm trusting this dude that he knows how to do this move without killing me, and he's about to throw me out the ring, which they talked about. I don't even know the guy. Was it Owen? What was the guy that actually fucking almost killed Stone Cold?
Hart, yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Oh, was it Bret Hart? Yeah, I don't know. That era was like a little early for me. Whoever it was some big name because I know the name, but I didn't know the guy. And yeah, he almost fucking crushed Stone Cold's head through the ground. No one's like gotten that fucked up though, right? Because you'd imagine that'd be mainstream stories.
I do think that it's happened. I don't know if it's happened at like a level.
WWE.
Excuse me, like a WWE
Yeah,
level.
yeah. Probably the minor leagues. Just like, because there's so many moves that you're getting slammed on your head, and one false move, you're gonna get fucking. Yeah, I mean, he said he went numb for a fucking day,
and ended up in the hospital. And like, I think that like he really, as much as he possibly could, he just kept working through those injuries the way they do. And part of the reason that that's the case is that like if you don't work, you don't get paid.
Yeah,
so,
you got to. Yeah.
You know, I mean, he talked about one guaranteed contract, and that was it.
Yeah, that's wild, right? And he's the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if that stuff might be different now, you know? Who knows? Just because there's unions, and obviously there were unions then too, but the business has grown so much.
Right.
The money didn't explode until that era. You know, it's probably hundreds and hundreds of thousands, and now it's hundreds of millions. Another part I found super interesting was that, because from the outside, and we know Stone Cold, he does like 2 movies, and you're like, he sucks at movies or something. It's just like the outside perception. Because like, why wouldn't he keep doing them, or why wouldn't he become a lead role? And he just straight up says like, I don't like movies. Like, I didn't want to act.
Yeah.
Like, that sucked. That wasn't for me. I just thought it's what I had to do.
Was he in? Oh my God, what was that series of movies that Stallone did?
He was in like 1 or 2 of them. Expendables.
Expendables.
Yeah, I think there was clips from that. There's a clips from an Adam Sandler movie. I forgot which one. Maybe one of the Grown Ups, or who knows, like Grown Ups 5 or some shit. And like little stuff like that. But that, I mean, and some of it may be fun. Some of it might be get a little cash. But obviously he didn't enjoy it as much as Dwayne Johnson enjoys looking at himself.
Yeah.
Dude, what's the new movie? Dwayne Johnson just got the biggest movie guarantee pay of all time.
Oh, I don't even know.
Yeah, 50 mil.
Who the fuck is doing that at this point? He has not been successful in it.
I don't know if it's
while.
Disney, but I think it's like a new age Christmas movie.
Okay.
I think it's called Code Red or Red Code or something. And he's like, I've only seen an article on it, but I assume it comes out this winter if they're teasing it. But he, it looks like he's some kind of like Santa bodyguard or like a Superman Santa. You know, he's wearing a red suit, but he's with Santa, but he's all jacked. He looks so jacked in the interviews. He's got the tightest shirt on. I don't know how he could breathe in this documentary. He's so tight. And then
it looked like it was painted on.
Yeah, and then you see him 50 years younger in the ring, and he's all skinny fat. Sorry, Rock, dude. I'm sorry. We're gonna meet one day, and I'll apologize to your face for all the shit I talked.
But only to your face.
But yeah, I mean, I'll mean it if he's nice to me. But I've heard he's not even that nice. That's the thing that justifies all my shit talk. Because I've heard he's like just not even that nice either.
I got into Bleacher Report here, and there's like an article of the 15 worst professional wrestling injuries.
Oh, I don't know about all that. Yeah, I mean, there's the one Mankind. Mankind got his front teeth shoved up into his nose. That's iconic. I watched that live, I believe.
A lot of necks.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Knees.
That makes sense.
Backs.
Neck for sure, neck and back. And then scrapes and bruises, I'm sure, every day.
Vince McMahon tore both quads.
I remember that.
In 2005 Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I remember that. That's gnarly. That's got to be a little juice action.
Cena and Batista. Yeah. Bret Hart gets concussed. Cactus Jack has his ear ripped off.
Oh, yeah. You can see it in the interviews.
Yeah.
He's got no right ear.
Right.
That's fucking wild.
Yes. 1994, Cactus Jack was in a match against Vader. During the match, Jack performed a hangman spot. I don't know what this spot consists of the head of the wrestler being tied up in the top 2 ropes. While trying to free himself from the ropes, Jack slid his head through the ropes, causing 2/3 of his ear to be removed from the side of his head. Yeah. WCW was known to use steel cables as the ropes. It also appears that in the video that the ropes were tighter than usual that night.
Yeah. he like, there should be documentaries on him. I'm sure there are, but he's like known for going crazy, bashing himself the fucking 2x4 and shit. He was always bleeding. That's the one thing you didn't see like The Rock and them bleed so much. I wonder if he just like chose that. And I know they would do like little cuts. They would like cut themselves pre-hand, so then it would bleed with pressure.
Yeah.
But some of that's got to be real and hurt. You know, like your nose. right? You just hit your nose on the mat, it's gonna bleed.
Yeah,
You know,
probably so.
or yeah, you get your head bashed in the ground or something like even those ropes, even if they're soft and they fix that technology, like you're slamming your body against it, could easily just very least bruise the fuck out of you. They're flying out there. I mean, they did some crazy shit. They'd fly out of the ring into the audience.
Yes.
Wrestling's so weird. Who's the guy? He was in the UFC for a second. He beat up a fan here, I think, in the crowd, like for real. Fuck, what's his name? All tatted, kind of emo. He made a push in the UFC for a sec, but I think he was.
CM Punk.
CM Punk.
Yeah.
Didn't he beat somebody up here in Sac?
That's a possibility.
I think it was Sacramento, and I think he's walking from the upper deck down, you know, talking shit as part of the script,
Mm-hmm.
and then someone pours a drink on him or shoves him, and then I think he turns around and socks the guy for real. I mean, like, that's what people don't understand about, like, UFC guys, if you're testing them in public, or WWE guys. Like, these aren't your normal, like, some of them are great people. I'm not saying they're all bad, but they're not like they're not programmed the same as us. Like they're like extreme athletes.
Yeah.
You should probably treat them as such.
Yeah.
Like, I ain't pouring, even in the NBA, like, they're just built different than the regular humans. You're going to talk enough shit, they're going to come after you. You know, there's a clip from, I don't think it was the All-Star game, but it was maybe the playoffs, where some fan ended up in, like, the VIP hallway talking shit to Russell Westbrook. He's like this fat little dude. And Russell Westbrook had enough of it, stood up and came at him like, all right, like, now what? Like, dude, this dude's from, like, South Central LA. Like, you're about to get your ass beat.
Yeah.
And they're humans, too. That's what's, like, I get you think it's a show, and it is, but, like, people are crazy. They kind of deserve to get punched in the mouth.
The real surprise to me still, after all these years, is that people are so invested in stuff that is not real. Clearly not real.
Like WWE?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think because of the storylines, so that it's just, like, to me, two different styles of marketing. You invent a storyline and then let your characters run in the WWE.
Mm.
And then in the NBA, storylines are, like, kind of there, and then you embellish them. But, like, the feeling's the same. I was thinking about that too watching this. Like, I was like, I do understand why people watch this.
I understand why people watch it. It's not something that like I've ever really concentrated much on. Like, I watched wrestling as a kid. You know, I watched The Rock's dad.
Yeah.
And all kind of all that era, because my grandmother lived with us and she was into it. So
Yeah.
And she used to go when it was in Stockton all the time.
Yeah.
Like she lived in this senior community, and they would just take a bus and just, you know.
That's fun. Yeah, now, I mean, I don't know about here, actually, because I feel like it did kind of die off after Stone Cold and them. Obviously, I don't have kids and I'm older, but it feels like the culture in general is not as popular. You know, I remember going through Target, and there'd be Stone Cold and Rock dolls and posters and shit everywhere. It's not like... It's not
There
like,
might still be.
yeah, probably, but you're more likely to see a Rock or Stone Cold one than, like, some other guy or whoever's the next guy.
Cena, and then
Yeah. Cena had a good run and did some business stuff, and then even my buddy Adam, like, had a good run. Like, he was really popular on the internet and shit. You know, he's ex-strongman. Got injured and beat up and tried out. That's when I actually met him. I met him at the Arnold. He was just, quote unquote, or like ending his strongman career, and they had WWE, which is genius. They had WWE tryouts at the
I
Arnold.
remember that. Yeah.
So I met Adam there. Dude, the world's so small. Then Adam, Braun Strowman, for those wrestling fans out there, is his name. Adam. Then it turns out he grew up next door neighbor to my manager at Reebok. Shout out Andrew. Which is totally disconnected. And Andrew's like, oh, yeah, dude, I remember going on walks in my street and seeing this 6'7" man throwing kegs in front of his front yard in North Carolina. They were just neighbors. I was like, that's fucking weird. But even Adam, yeah, obviously he wasn't on the level of The Rock and them, but he's popular. You know, he's got a big Instagram. They promote him on commercials. You might see him in, like, a Doritos commercial here and there or something. But the celebrityhood of The Rock and Stone Cold are insane.
And like I was saying, people buy into the storyline so much. That'd be like seeing, you know, Christian Bale at a hotel bar and deciding that he's either Bruce Wayne or Batman and interacting with him that way.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that's that far-fetched either.
But probably people do it, but it's still fucking weird.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. But people probably do. Yeah, it is a little bit more, obviously, connected than those. Because that's all you know them as. But even old celebrities, Christian Bale's a good example. Not old celebrities, but like celebrities that don't dive into social media. I feel like easy to attach that, right? It's not like Christian Bale from his YouTube vlog.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know Christian Bale. You know Batman.
Yeah.
You know? And so, like, yeah, you don't really know, like, Stevie Williams. You know fucking Stone Cold.
I picked Christian Bale because I don't think anyone would do this to Ben Affleck because he's a fucking monster. He's huge.
Yeah. Yeah, Christian Bale's tall. Yeah, just skinnier.
Yeah, much.
Yeah. Ben. I mean, a lot of those guys, they look like fucking NFL players. And Stone Cold had some good athletics. Yeah, I don't know. It is weird that it's so scripted and people buy in. But again, the drama is eerily similar to what the NBA and NFL try to build, right? So Steph Curry versus LeBron James, and they build all this stuff up. And, oh, did you see Steph tweeted this? And they said that. And now with social media, they're even better at it.
And I mean, it's old. This is an old, like almost as old as civilization kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where storylines are presented that appeal to some people at one level and other people at a different level.
Yeah.
Like fucking Shakespeare. It's like that.
Yeah. No, 100%.
I was surprised at because several years, like 5-6 years ago, we went to the Old Globe in London and saw a play that Shakespeare co-wrote, something that I'd never heard of before. But all the people that are the groundlings, people who are standing, the way that they interact with the people on the stage is
like
nuts.
WWE.
Yeah, and apparently it was always like that.
Yeah, interactive, like stand-up comedy you expected or something.
And the actors played to those.
Yeah,
they didn't necessarily play up; they played down because they could get interaction, kind of like crowd work.
That is kind of the genius, I guess, of the WWE. Is the crowd is a character.
Yeah,
right. Where
exactly.
the NBA, NFL, it's not, and so the buy-in.
In fact, you don't want any professional sport. You do not want.
Yeah, they kind of negate it.
Yeah,
like I bet you. I don't know the other term, but like per capita or per fan of WWE versus any other sport, like the amount of people wearing merch and buying merch is probably way higher.
Probably so.
You know what I mean? Like if you're a Stone Cold fan, you're fucking in.
Yeah.
Like you got everything. And they showed it. They signs, and I've been to a couple live. You've been to a couple live. Like, yeah, the amount of signs you see, the fans are crazy, and it probably is because of that crowd work-esque type vibe. And they play into all that. What it is to me and what I enjoy about it all is also like the sociology of it all. And they talk about it a little bit here, but like the Stone Cold seeing The Rock do one thing, like, oh yeah, there's something there. Like you can just feel that, oh, the crowd's either going to love you or hate you. It doesn't matter, but you got them. You just have to like give them bait. Yeah. And if they buy it, you're kind of in. And maybe that's what we're missing now is like the gimmicks aren't as strong, or maybe aren't as unique, or maybe you can't repeat them, maybe it is dead just because we've done so many now.
That's a good possibility. Yeah,
because even like you said, like wrestling in this nature has been a thing for closing in probably on 100 years. Probably 40s, 50s, 60s.
Probably,
where it started, and obviously it's evolved. But yeah, I do wonder how many arenas they sell out or what they're. The other one is Andy, guitar player Andy. He made a big push in the WWE.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder...
The guy from Every Time I Die.
Yeah, because they... that league came out of nowhere and made a big push. WCW? Was it WCW again?
That's a good question.
Or ECW? One of the older ones made a huge push because I think they signed a contract with TNT or Spike or something. And I feel over the last 10 years, they almost overtook the WWE for a second, or at least became an equal. Because during the Attitude Era, and when I watched, the other league was a piece of shit. Yeah, that's where you went to retire. That's where you went to die.
A thing that I didn't see in this as much, or maybe really even at all, is that when you talk to Steve in person, he talks about the history of professional wrestling and his career like he's talking about fucking Civil War or
they're in it.
Yeah.
They talked about it, I guess, a little bit in the beginning when his family said, like, oh, Steve said he's going to be a wrestler from, like, 17.
Yeah.
So at least maybe they hinted at his interest to study the actual art as a history. That's what I love about all this stuff is, like, the culture. Like powerlifting. I like all the old cats. Do I watch them? Do I know them? Obviously, I got the privilege over the years to meet a bunch of them, but it's weird to me to love powerlifting, and we see this more and more. You love powerlifting more. Shit, the kids in our gym love powerlifting more than I do, and they don't know the history, and they don't care to know. But I'm like that with everything. Like, I like hip-hop music, I like clothing, so I dive into like the history and the tale. So, because I think you do have to know like where we've been to know where we're going or what's going on now. So I think The Rock was obviously born into it, so he probably has all that history. I feel like to be good at anything, you have to do that.
Yeah, I feel like if between, say, The Rock and Stone Cold, the one to me most likely to have retained all the details of every fucking match is Stone Cold.
Yeah, maybe. I have heard a lot of wrestlers just talk like that. They're like obsessive. You know, like kind of like sports games. You know, oh, I remember when I played San Francisco Giants in '85, and I threw like this. Like, I feel like when you're a real student of the game and you're a student of yourself, you just have weird memories like that, because that's how you get better. You know, you've watched the tapes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure wrestlers watch the tapes like any other sports. You know, because that's how you learn. Oh, I did this wrong, or I landed weird here, or I didn't give a good enough cue
or what
here.
the hell happened there?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I can't even tell, because sometimes you can't. Your eyes are not in the right spot.
Especially wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, you're getting flipped around, and I don't know. It is an interesting thing.
The mystery to me is like why he hadn't broken through before that one point, because he was the same guy.
Oh, the Austin 316 stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the gimmick, right? A little bit of the gimmick. I don't know the exact timeline because they didn't give like dates on this thing, but being like stunning
96, 97, something like that.
Yeah, but being Stunning Steve.
Yeah.
The timeline of Stunning Steve to turn into Stone Cold to turn into the Austin 316. I don't know those gaps.
Yeah.
Because it might have been soon. It might have been a gimmick, right? My point is, like, he might have turned into Stone Cold and then it caught fire.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I never watched Stunning Steve. That's before my time for sure.
Yeah. No, when he the way he told the story about that night.
Yeah.
In the documentary is pretty much the way I heard it directly from him.
Yeah.
Too.
It is funny. It is so funny. I didn't know it was against Jake the Snake. I didn't really know Jake the Snake. My dad would like joke about him, but I didn't know like those, talking about timelines. Like, I didn't know those timelines overlapped at all.
Oh yeah.
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 I thought Jake the Snake, and he was obviously on the end of his career during that time, but I thought he was much older, and he was. Stone Cold was young, but
I don't understand how guys like The Undertaker went on for as long as they did.
forever.
And Triple H too.
Just a savage. Yeah, I'm sure Triple H still like does Vince McMahon-y type things and hops in the ring here and there. Like, I think it was even The Rock. I mean, The Rock was in WrestleMania like within the last 3 years.
Yeah.
As like a featured guest. What happened to Ronda Rousey? That was supposed to be the.
Oh, I don't know.
And Jake Paul. Like, they're pulling all the weird strings. They signed Jake Paul. They just signed. There's these two basketball twins. I swear they were out here for a sec. They might have been at Fresno.
Oh, maybe.
There was two twins that went viral on TikTok, or like built a big following on TikTok, and they were actually good at basketball. I think they're at Fresno. Then they transferred to University of Miami. I think they just graduated, but I think the WWE signed them to a contract, like a 10-year contract.
Jesus.
Yeah, and they've like never wrestled, and they're gonna like dabble and see what it is or something. But yeah, getting Jake Paul. I mean, it's smart to grab social media people, right? Anything you're gonna do. I've in the past 10 years, I've been reached out to a bunch of from reality TV shows, right? Because like if they're gonna have random people on there, might as well get random people with a little bit of a following. It's gonna be better for The Rock's show. What the fuck's it called? The Gladiator type show.
Yeah, I can't remember. What
yeah, whatever the fucking Rock's Gladiator type show. Titan.
Oh,
Titan Games. The Titan Games. They always sign like CrossFitters and lifters with a little bit of a following. Like, it all makes sense, but it doesn't seem to have paid off for the WB so far.
Something I didn't read, this is an aside, but something I've been hearing about lately is like big auto manufacturers doing basically car launches with where they have like a social media influencer day.
Yeah.
And these are not even necessarily people who are in that vertical, that space.
You just need eyes. I mean, the beauty of cars, though, right, is everyone drives one.
Yeah.
Right? That'd be the same thing as like a restaurant, or like there's certain things you don't have to be a content creator in that space. You just have eyes, because everyone eats, everyone likes cars, or everyone needs a car, whether they like them or not. Yeah, it makes sense. It is like the cheapest form of marketing from a business sense, right? You're going to pay $10 million to get a spot on primetime television, plus another $1 million to shoot the commercial. Or I made those numbers up, but you know what I mean. And then who knows what your return is? Or you pay $10,000 and get someone with 1 million followers just come drive your car on a track for fun and vlog it.
Right, and yeah,
you know, it's going to be a lot more entertaining, a lot cheaper, a lot less upkeep. It does all make sense.
And I understand that the social media requirements are pretty low too. It's like, you know, a couple Instagram posts or whatever.
A lot of it's probably just who you know.
Yeah,
you know, it's all who you know and your engagement and
the list you get on.
Yeah, 100%. Because there's so many. I was just talking to the team yesterday about marketing and stuff and how different the game is now, where more sponsorships. In the very beginning, sponsorships weren't paying because they couldn't afford it, and they couldn't track the ROI because codes and stuff weren't as popular.
Right.
Then it became an era where there's when I had 100,000 followers on Instagram, I was probably in the 0.0001 top percent. You know, Kim Kardashian had like 3 million. So like that ratio is insane. I was on her ass, no pun. And then
there's plenty of room there.
Yeah,
so.
and then now 100,000 on Instagram's a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
So why would these marketing companies start handing out 6-figure checks when if you don't want to work with me, I'll just go on to the next person with 100,000.
Yeah.
You know, so all the requirements for that's slightly getting lower. Not that it's bad, it's not good. It's just part of the evolution of marketing and what they can afford. But yeah, if BMW can launch a new M3 and have 100 people there, all with 50,000 followers for free, some might do it for free just for the content.
Yeah.
Right now you're under 5 million. I don't know if I did that math right, but 5 million eyes. Right, 100 times 50,000. It's probably like 5 million.
Just add the extra zeros.
Yeah, I can't do it in my brain right now. But 5 million-ish impressions.
Yeah.
For free.
Right.
You know, to get 5 million impressions on a YouTube video or a TV commercial, you're paying millions.
Outside of Stone Cold, do you have a favorite character in this?
I don't know about in this, but generally, actually, I liked Stone Cold a lot, but I was a Rock fan.
Okay.
Ironically, yeah. Growing up, I loved the battles there. I loved like the Stone Cold Rock. They teamed up for like 3 months, and then they hated each other the rest of the time. I just love the bickering they had. In the show, probably Stone Cold. You know, I just
other than Stone Cold.
Yeah, it's too hard. I like Stone Cold.
Mick Foley.
Yeah, Mick Foley's good. Undertaker's interviews were good. Even The Rock, despite me being a half ironic hater, his interviews were good. You know, and it felt semi heartfelt, or as heartfelt as he could give it. Yeah, it felt genuine. The Rock talking about him, because even Stone, I think we might have asked him on air, off air, and he always kind of said they had a good relationship, but he never said like they're besties, and that's what it kind of felt like. Like the mutual respect and trust was so high, yet they're not like best friends.
A thing that you really have to be paying attention to get out of this, I thought, is how much of a business head Stone Cold is.
Yeah.
If you meet him in person, you have a conversation with him, you know this. It's like whatever is necessary to make the business part work, he's willing to do, even if it is not, something that he would love or enjoy. I don't think that he loves or enjoys social media that much.
Yeah.
But it's part of the game, and so he does it, and really without complaint, it seems like.
Yeah, I wonder if that's just part of growing up in wrestling, like all the hazing stuff, like because you really are an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
On your own.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Growing through the WWE, so I think that's probably just like. I'm sure that's what bred The Rock's success.
Yeah. And I guess through the lens of what I just said, looking at the way he talked about seeing The Rock, at the beginning of his career, and knowing that he had something, that's a business instinct, and an entertainment instinct, where you go, well, this guy's got something. This is a horse maybe we can ride.
Yeah. And then it turned out they got along well enough. Like Vince McMahon even commented on that.
And so he, like, whether or not this was somebody who was going to be his best friend, it was somebody that could be a partner in business in a way. You know?
And especially wrestling. Yeah, it is kind of secretly genius, because like there can't be one guy in wrestling, and maybe that's the difference between these two and like a Cena or what's going on now is you need the Lex Luthor to the Superman. Like otherwise wrestling doesn't work. Like who. And maybe that is kind of the issue that's going on right now. They always could find like one-ish star, but where's the counterpart to make it tie together long term? And they were just lucky during that time, probably too, right? They had Triple H, who was huge, Big Show, who was still huge, Undertaker, Kane. Like they had a bunch of the most iconic names that were all physically and some good on the microphone, and these two were just at the top. So It's the same with sports, right? If it's just LeBron James and everyone else sucks, that's kind of like the Bill Russell argument for my basketball heads. Like, Bill Russell was amazing, but like, who's around his era? He's just shitting on everybody. It doesn't build the Magic Johnson, Larry Bird tower,
right?
You know, it doesn't build the Kobe, Jordan, although they were passing ships career wise, but it doesn't build like that tower. So yeah, it's kind of genius of him to know that to put his shit on that next level, he needs an equal.
Yeah, he did say that. He talked about like who his opponents were the most. That was the most important thing.
Yeah,
because like you can't perform if you're not feeling it,
and that's kind of what led to like the first big disagreement, right? Even though Brock Lesnar was a big name, but he didn't want to fight him.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, the business is just so interesting, and there's so many like unspoken rules. And I'm sure so many unspoken rules that this documentary isn't even that accurate. There's shit they probably couldn't even talk about or didn't want to talk about. I'm sure there's dirty business going on.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I was blown away that I never heard the word kayfabe in the whole thing.
What's kayfabe?
Oh, you don't know?
I don't know.
Okay, kayfabe is essentially when you're playing out a scenario, and so you commit to that and you don't ever back off of it. It like if in the ring,
yeah.
Okay, it's like out in the real.
Is this wrestling related? This
wrestling. It's totally wrestling related. Yeah. I should probably actually look up the real definition, but like, okay, so if you deal with someone and you know them and everything's cool, but the characters that you play are at odds with each other, they're at odds all the time that anyone can see.
Like
that anyone can see.
Yeah.
Nobody can break kayfabe.
Yeah. Character acting or whatever it's called.
Like totally, like method acting.
Yeah, method acting.
Except that it's 100% of the time.
Yeah, it's my boy Jim Carrey.
This is probably why I can't hit Jim Carrey.
You ever watch the documentary about Andy Kaufman?
I haven't seen it. I probably should.
It's got Jim Ross in it, if we want to tie it into wrestling, because Andy Kaufman had it goes beyond. Andy Kaufman had a real life grudge with Jim Ross. Jim Carrey went in public and talked shit on Jim Ross to his face.
Okay.
He like continued the beef.
Yeah. I came that close to meeting Andy Kaufman. I was in the same place as Andy Kaufman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in when I was 17, I worked in a restaurant in the Harrah's Casino in Reno, and he was in the middle of the night.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, probably doing drugs and
partying.
partying.
One of my friends got his autograph, and I was like, I'm not gonna fuck with Andy Kaufman.
Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, like method acting. That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that's probably why you just find ways that The Rock and Stone Cold. That's probably why they couldn't become best friends. Like, maybe they could have been. Yeah. But yeah, if you can't get caught in a restaurant together because you're supposed to be enemies tomorrow.
Well, that was the thing about oh my God, who was supposed to win King of the Ring?
Triple H.
Triple H was supposed to, and they did.
They became friends.
They broke kayfabe on.
Yeah.
In the show.
Yeah, that was just like a weird sprinkle they put in there. Like, I wish they would have dove in a little more. Obviously, it's a side tangent because it's not about Stone Cold.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of like what started to build D-Generation X, which was a big piece of the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
Like the Suck It and the China porn, all that wraps up into that.
Yikes.
That was one of the first celebrity porns, I think.
Oh, yeah?
I think. I don't know. Yeah, it was like the first sex tape.
Before Pam and Tommy?
Probably similar, right?
Maybe so.
Late 90s. Yeah, it was probably similar era. Yeah, it was like, what's the name? X-Pac? X-Pac in China.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weird.
That's really weird.
Yeah, I did know all those names, too. Was it Steve Nash? Not Steve Nash. Something Nash. Kevin Nash?
Okay.
Was part of that. He run the Rumble with Triple H.
Okay.
He was one of his like best friends in real life. That broke all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and then they made D-Generation X, which was like, I guess, a gang in the WWE, whatever, like a group of like 4 dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah, or they sold a shit ton of T-shirts too. That whole era, because they did monetize well. They got video games. Video games were huge in that era. I played a shit ton of WWE video games, merch, hats. It was funny. I haven't been probably since 2016. Whenever Cena was wrestling.
Yeah, I haven't been since Cena.
Yeah, maybe 2015. I was gonna go this last time because I have some buddies in it still, but I don't know if they're on tour like that. I just don't think it's. Yeah, I don't think it's what it used to be.
Okay, let's wrap this one up. We've been talking about a biography channel documentary on Stone Cold Steve Austin that is now on YouTube. And as of last night, over the course of like 2 days, it had had over 300,000 views.
It's pretty good. Yeah, for a YouTube.
I think that maybe this was on the biography channel, maybe 2020, 2021, something like that, and just came out on YouTube. But
yeah, so it's free for y'all.
yeah, it's free with a lot of commercials.
Yeah.
Good Lord, there's a lot of commercials.
Yeah, that YouTube money. I don't blame them. Fucking get your bag, WWE, do your thing.
Yeah, I don't blame them either. We typically rate these movies on some scale that I just pull up out of my head. I'm gonna go with crushed beer cans on this one.
It's hard because this is maybe one of the first ones that I'm a fan of what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a fan of golf, but I'm not. I'm a fan of golfing. I'm not a fan of following golf. I like sports, but I don't love tennis.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some of the stuff we've covered hasn't been like in my alley. Where I am one. Obviously, we know him, and then meeting the person and being a fan, and then being a fan after I meet the person. Like, that's a rare lineup. So it's hard to like judge because I was highly entertained. I might give it like 4. I might give it 4 out of 5. Crushed beer cans.
I was going to say 4 as well.
Yeah.
It's incredibly well produced. It's very streamlined though, because they left out a whole lot of characters along the way. For sure.
Yeah, but we always complain about shit being too long. Like, if they made this 3 1-hour series, it would probably suck. You know, it's like a perfect amount of time.
Yeah.
You get the story. It ends kind of abruptly. Like, all of it is, like you said, it's scripted well, which is always going to want you leaving more rather than you being flooded. So, yeah, overall good. Shot well, good footage. Some footage that's really famous, some footage that's you've never seen before.
Correct.
You know, so like some cool B-roll in there, a little bit of business talk. Yeah, it was good. It was good. I think even if I wasn't a Stone Cold, I'd probably still give it like a 3.5, 4.
Yeah, no, I agree. And all of the more recent stuff that was shot with him is like, that's the guy.
Yeah.
That's the guy I met.
I don't know where he is now. I heard he was in Reno for a bit because I think he sold his Texas ranch. I wonder if he is in Reno.
I think he is in Reno.
Yeah.
I believe the last time that I heard he was in Reno.
Tweet the man. See what the hell's going on. Ride some Kawasaki's.
Yeah. I think he has a house, or did have a house in L.A.
Yeah, Marina Del Rey. That's the house I went to. Crazy.
But I don't think he's spending as much time there.
I don't blame him. He seems like a Nevada man.
Yeah, no, he literally has a ranch there that's not in Texas, and does a lot of his own shit.
Yeah, hanging out. Yeah, I'm sure he's still doing his podcast. I don't think his TV show's still going on. Like they
challenge. Come and go.
Yeah.
So like they're reformulating, and you can come back again in another way. I think that's all under WWE.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Whereas his podcast is his podcast.
Yeah, just on the side.
The because he's been podcasting for as long as we have.
Yeah, a long time.
And
he was early. He was early with podcast 1.
Well, you know, when we had him on the Powercast for the first time there, I had his number because I was told that he wanted to talk technical issues with me.
Yeah.
And so I'm driving down the street in my neighborhood and my phone rings and it's like Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's like, fuck, I got to pull over. I can't drive and talk to him.
Yeah. Yeah, because he would just record it on his own. He would just record it out of his home, out of a little kit, and then send it off to get produced.
Yeah. And, you know, I said, I didn't have a whole lot to offer, really, because he had kind of, for someone who didn't have anyone engineering their show, he had kind of the best setup that he could have.
Yeah, quick, easy gist. And travel, because he would travel a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. Shout out Stone Cold. Shout out to y'all for listening. Free documentary on YouTube. Probably worth a watch. A lot better than some of the paid shit on Netflix and stuff going around.
For sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to get involved, join goodcompany.discord.com. We got exclusives. We take your questions. We interact, a like-minded community, and you get early access to all Good Company apparel drops. Check out 3sb.co. New apparel drop comes July 24th. And I'm Sound Mike, where you want to find me. If you guys are in California, stop by 3rd Street Barbell, and we'll catch you next time.
I am at the Jim McDay on all the social media. This show is 50% facts, 4% is a word, and 50 is just numbers. 50% Facts is a Spreaker Prime podcast in association with iHeartMedia on the Obscure Celebrity Network. We'll talk to you next time.
Chugged it.
Is it empty now?
No, it's just lowish.
Okay. It's been low for like 2.5 years.
Have some, Abby. Put her down.